Hello, beautiful light-filled souls. My name is Trisha Barker. I had an interview scheduled today, but it didn't work out. So I thought I would connect with you, my YouTube crowd. I haven't talked with you directly in a while. And for those of you who don't know, I do work as an English professor, and today in the classroom, I was teaching a 1301 class, and I showed them a TED Talk by Pamela Meyer titled How to Spot a Liar. And of course, everyone, gets excited about that because, they're young and they want to spot liars and not date them. And, that's the impetus there. But the video is a lot deeper than that. And it talks about corporate fraud, and it talks about really how we're complicit with lies a lot of times. And that made me think about the wounds that we all carry. And what Pamela Meyer said, and I'll just paraphrase it, is if you don't want to be deceived, you should understand what you're hungry for. And I translated that into you should understand your wounds. And for some reason, when I think of wounds, they like occur in the heart and gut area. And it's just this midsection of us where we're just so wounded, from family, from past relationships in so many different ways, so many slights and hurts that we carry and we haven't quite released. I know that on the other side, all of those were healed instantly, and I completely understood that love is all that we take with us, and that is what the journey should be about in our friendships and in our romances and in our relationships. But it does become complicated, and it does get hard to center that in all ways. So the ways that we are wounded, these wounds that we carry, I like to think of it, and I thought of this on my walk today, like we should be like a lioness with our wounds, and we should hold on to them and not send them out into the world until they know how to hunt and feed themselves and take care of themselves. Like, you shouldn't just hand over your wounds to someone and go, heal me, because they might be grossed out or they may not care to heal you, or they may not just care, or they may just not have the time to worry about it. So your wounds are your wounds, and that is where you begin to parent yourself and love yourself. And of course, you have the love of God to call in and to help you in these areas. So Pamela Meyer made me think today about this. So in what ways are we open to deception? A lot of ways. And I thought about this time when I dressed up right after my near-death experience. After I recovered and I was fine and I healed up, I went to this party in Austin, and in Austin, people are silly sometimes. And it was a costume party, and I dressed up as a fairy godmother, and I honestly asked people what they wanted more than anything. If they had three wishes, what would these wishes be? Well, of course, everybody's top two wishes had to do with love and money. Everyone wanted true love, and they wanted some sort of abundance or success or financial security. This was a younger crowd, and so not everyone was wishing for great health. They should have added that. As time goes on, that's probably the third area where we are most likely to be deceived. But I'll start with love. So people who have a lot of expectations for what they want and how they want to be loved can be very tiring. So, if you have all these ideas about, your emotional needs and your physical needs and your spiritual needs, and all this needs to be satisfied daily by a partner, oh my God, that's so ridiculous, because I can't even meet all those needs for myself each day. Like, life is about the long haul and the long run and harmony and balance. And some days these needs are met, and you take care of yourself generally in the best way possible throughout your life and throughout your days. But high expectations about what you desperately need is really coming from that wounded place. It's not about what you're giving, it's about what you need in this empty place within yourself. And you don't have to be empty. None of us do. And meditation may be the greatest healer of relationships, both with other people and the world. And I have meditated for several years. And whenever I neglect the practice, I mean, I started meditating right after my near-death experience in 94. And there were times when I neglected it and times when I came back to it. And I noticed that life became more stressful and chaotic and hectic when I didn't meditate. So spending time in nature and in deep meditation and prayer is just vital. We need that rest. We need it, need it, need it. So that is not something that Pamela Meyer brought up, but I think that we're a lot better at hearing our intuition and believing it when we spend some time in meditation. So that's a part of this. So the areas where we're most likely to be deceived are love and money. And Pamela Meyer brought up some horrifying statistics about fraud in the US and businesses, corporate fraud. And then I looked up statistics on fraud around the world, and trillions of dollars are lost around the world due to fraud. So money is this area where we're also complicit. You know, when we know that we're operating within a system that sometimes is harmful to others, or we know that there's so much good that could be done and isn't being done. So when you think about the fact that it would only cost 10 to 20 billion dollars to end human trafficking and human slavery, and trillions of dollars are lost because of fraud, there's so much that's just wrong with the system on a larger scale. And that would require deep research and deep thought. But what's more important, again, is to examine your own wounds with money and in what ways can you be manipulated. So this also ties to relationships. You know, there are ways that people are manipulated through money and relationships and all kind of stereotypical ways, and I won't get judgmental and talk about that, but there are, you know, as the middle class is squeezed more and more, I think sometimes people's expectations about what they want in a person financially really have to be rethought and revamped. And, you know, a deeper peace needs to come about, I think, between people and money. And yet at the same time, I think when you're operating from a place of creativity and abundance and joy, you know, then there is a better relationship with money. When you're really focused on your goals and what you're providing for this world in this beautiful way, then everything has a way of working out, just the way relationships have a way of working out too, when you're in that better state. So when you have a lot of fear and expectation and anger and, you know, all these wounds connected to the idea of security, then there's going to be trouble. You know, like just like with a relationship, there's going to be trouble if you're bringing all your wounds to that area. So there's a lot to think about when we think about tending to ourselves. But I do know that people in general tend to overlook a lot of lies. And this is where Pamela Meyer put the burden on other people, that if you have been lied to, something within you is complicit in that lie. So maybe you're just accustomed to a certain way of life, or you're accustomed to a person who you love and feel comfortable with, and you just don't want to confront the lies that are being told. And that's just part of human nature. But I think it's important to set a higher moral standard for yourself, and as you move forward, to basically say, like, hey, I live in a truth-telling world, and I live in a world where I am working toward being more upfront and honest about everything in my life, and deceit just doesn't have place in my life. There isn't a seat for it here. You can't just pull up permanent residence and be deceitful, and then we just get along and we just, you know, lie for the rest of our lives like that. I think that we're coming to a place where so many people are longing for their own truth to be heard and told, and they're longing for others to be truthful with them. So you will find your tribe of truth tellers. They do exist and they are out there. And it will be more satisfying to be in a place of walking with more integrity and walking from this place of seeing the world differently and tending to yourself very carefully before you just expect a lot from other people. So spend time in meditation, look at your wounds carefully, care for them as if you are a lioness who is caring for her very vulnerable cubs. And then when you are ready to walk out into the world, do it as if, I don't know, as if you just don't give a shit. Whether you find great love or you find great wealth or not, that you are just, that you are a divine child of God and that you are loved and that you are going to contribute in the way that you need to contribute to this world and that everything is going to be just fine. And if it isn't, meditate through it, love yourself through it, and know that you will make it around that bend and things will get easier. So may you be blessed, and I hope you got something from this. Thank you very much.